The wonderful thing is that you can choose how high or how colourful you will become. The possibilities are endless, the combinations limitless. That possibility might well be the real thing we're celebrating here today. It comes to you from several sources. Your genes and the DNA handed to you as the blueprint. Your family. Your family nurtured you, loved and helped you grow strong. They fed you, encouraged you, and released you into the wider world. As you grew, they saw perhaps themselves reflected, but also the possibility of something new and magnificent emerging. Today you're glowing with satisfaction and achievement. You may feel justified and you may feel relieved. Whatever the feeling is, you are here. May the future be as exciting and as fulfilling as you have always dreamt. Keep in touch and tell us of your doings. We'd love to know that we were right when we said you were special. So go out now and conquer the world. We hope to see it on the 9 o'clock news. For now, enjoy this moment and then go light up the sky. Now I will leave you to two very special persons indeed. They have guided, tortured, loved, annoyed, cuddled, and evidently shaped you in order to achieve this result. Each and every one passed. Good for you. Mrs. Bragman and later Mrs. Laboso will take the floor now. Thank you very much.
And caring. You are active, compassionate, and lifelong learners with your lives ahead of you, in which you can all work together to make this a better world. Would you say this is a captive and proper beginning of a speech? I have tried to use some anaphora, some virtue words, and I've tried to address the audience, you, in the appropriate register. And what was the purpose again? Rhetorical devices, well, I bet you have forgotten all about them. But when you are at university, listening to a professor lecturing, do you sometimes think, the structure of his or her argumentation is actually quite poor. The arguments he or she uses don't fully support his thesis statement. And what is his line of reasoning? Or perhaps you're cycling through the city where you live now. It's dark and late, or should I say early in the morning. You realise you shouldn't have taken that last drink, and then quite suddenly the phrase, to be or not to be, that is the question, pops up in your mind. Or the sun is shining. You are taking a walk in town, girls. You are passing a very handsome young man. You immediately think about the entailment of your father's estate, because you are fully aware of the fact that there is a truth, universally acknowledged, that a single man of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. Or when you're playing squash or volleyball or hockey, and you just can't get rid of the image of Ikwefi running after the priestess who took Izimma with bare flopping breasts. Actually, what I want to say to you, dear ladies and gentlemen, is that although most of you have started a new phase in life, and a very exciting one at that, I hope you will sometimes remember the things you've done at this school. And I hope that you will look back on the time you spent at this school with pride, a little prejudice perhaps, and many warm feelings. Because that is the way we look at you all, with pride, a little prejudice, and many warm feelings. Thank you.
It's a serious matter, that is the IB exam, so we're all going to get very serious now. Okay? Many smiles, it's serious. So I'm mainly addressing this to the E6 students, our very, very first group ever. So when we started the year, we were not sure what we'd let ourselves in for, but you lot were very quick in telling us what we were in for. We already know everything, so don't worry too much about us. That was the general consensus, I think. Well, you're right. Well, your overall IB results told us that you were really very good at writing a very structured essay. You've mastered the language to a very, very high level. So, yeah, we don't claim that we taught you that in 1 year. Seriously, we won't. But we wanted to learn as much from you as you learned from everyone at the KSG. So we asked for your exam papers, and we looked at the comments and the results. And we learned something about you, and we were actually a bit right. There was something that needed a bit of work, and that was, and I wrote it down somewhere, but I'm already lost in my speech. Oh yeah, that was it. Our thinking that your skills of in-depth analysis needed some work. They agreed with us in the IB. And we noticed it in your BWO exams as well. And filling in of written task forms, that was another one where we thought, sometimes they still find it hard to look at the information and put it down correctly. But seriously, your paper 2 results, because let's start with that one, they were very, very good. And I'll start with the first quote that we noticed. Well-sequenced organization, for most of you. Effective and fluent language. Well, that's very impressive, I'd say. Efficient presentation and well-chosen novels. The last comment doesn't quite go for that one person who decided to ignore our good advice and ended up with another quote. The arguments are only personal opinions, and it is apparent that language and culture was not studied. We are happy the student passed, nevertheless, and it has given us an excellent example to use in years to come, so thank you for that. And although this is, of course, a celebration, I am going to mention the comments for your paper 1s, because these were basically linked to that one weakness that I just pointed out. We had already noticed that you're not very good at getting that information, so one of the comments that appeared very often was superficial, which I think when you grow older and wiser will disappear. Because when we looked at your written tasks, we got all happy. It said suitable, appropriate, effective, very fluent, skillful, so that was something that made us very happy and a bit proud, even though we know we didn't teach you all of it. One last comment that I would like to share with you. One of you had the comment, the candidate has done an insightful job and has excellent work, did an excellent job using language at a very, very high level. Having been part of helping you achieve that has made us very, very proud, I think. And I hope that you realize that you have skills that you can use in years to come. And that sometimes you will remember us just a bit for what we might have taught you. Congratulations on a job very, very well done, because you did have very impressive results. In spite of my sneaky comments that I couldn't help sharing with you. You did a very, very good job. So congratulations, and all of your tutors will congratulate you personally. So I'd like to pass on the floor to Mr. Marshall, if he's ready.
Was the first one. I had some doubts in the real beginning of your school career. You're a very active, joyful girl with so many friends, always very busy with Christiana, Claire, Ray, and others, and not interested in the past of people. But at the end, we would convince you that the study for your exam was the most important thing in this year. And to my great satisfaction, you really did manage your studies and finished out the VWO. You have what I think is a special privilege for women. That wonderful combining of 100 activities on one moment. The so-called multitasking. Well, I wish you success, and I have some homework for you. Not only for Marloes, but every one of you. I have a book with me. It's the fairy tales of the brothers Grimm. It's a German, not a German book, to Dutch translation. Because I tried to find for you a story, or better, a fairy tale, but a fairy tale is not the good word for it. Not Märchen in German. The best word is the Dutch word, sprookje. And well, I'm going to tell this in Dutch. No, I'm not going to tell. A sprookje is something like spreken, spreuk. En een spreuk, dat is een boodschap. You must know those stories are told before the invention of the electric light. Old people told stories and the little children were around about. And those stories has always two layers. That's one of the children, yeah, I'm going, one for the children and one for the parents. Marloes just trying to find the story about IJzeren Hans. It's the number 136. If you want to show or to see the intent, content, well, have a look. Modest. And now come forward and...
But now I want to go over to mentor, and I think mentor is not here. Mother is, isn't he? Yeah, well, I just have one advice for mentor. Mentor admitted to me that he had only one problem, namely difficulty with authority. Well, it would be an understatement that some of us have never mentioned it, have never noticed it. So I just have one advice for mentor. Never work for a boss, but become your own boss. I would like to invite the mother of mentor. Yes, please.
At the end of the last school year, not in the first time, but if you take a better look, then special talents and gifts show themselves in your personality. A very high responsibility for people around you, a sharp eye, a friendly character, a person with so many possibilities. It was an honor and pleasure for me to have you as a student. And in my opinion, you are too modest about yourself. Lees de ganzenhoedster. Kevin, why? Kevin, over there. Kevin is very intelligent, reacting secondarily. Open eyes and closed mouth. High-speed working brains, eager, perfectionist. Each word spoken only after being told twice.
So tall, I put on my high heels. I hope everyone can see me. Dear all, for those who do not know me, my name is Laila, and at the moment I'm an English student at the University of Utrecht. A year ago, I found myself in the exact same spot as you are all now. For many years, I've been working hard to achieve a good level of the English language. I remember that it was a very hard job to do in first grade. Nevertheless, I never predicted that, in fact, it all went very quickly. I remember that I had to use my dictionary an awful lot when I first started high school. But surprisingly enough, I can't really remember when that had to stop, because it all went so quick. It is amazing actually how language acquisition works. At this moment, I'm taking a course in linguistics. And so I'm starting to learn a little more on how first language acquisition works. I haven't yet come to the point of second language acquisition, but I have been told by my teacher that it is a rather hard job to understand and to fully learn a language. Especially after a certain age. There's a critical period, and after that is passed, it is very hard to obtain a new language. But enough of that. It is possible, and well, we can all see that at the end of the bilingual education. Throughout the years, we have reached a level of near native speakers, and I have to emphasize near native because we will never fully know the language in a way that we won't make any mistakes anymore.